question?
Yeah.
Anita?
Yeah, you can
Good
start.
morning, sir. Is the achieved IOL position in pseudophakic eyes a predictor of post-operative spherical equivalent? Now, financial interest. So, improving refractive outcomes in cataract surgery has been focused on improving the measurements and improvements in IOL formula. And in 1992, Olsen states that 2/3 of prediction errors were due to biometry errors. By 2008, it is less than 1/3. So we have hugely improved on measurement part. And again,
Sanita, just stop for a second.
yes, sir.
The timer is showing wrong timer. So can we reset the timer and let her start again?
Yes, sir.
Please reset the timer. It was only showing 30 seconds. Yeah, you can start now.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the achieved IOL position in pseudophakic eyes a predictor of post-operative spherical equivalent? So, improving refractive outcomes in cataract surgery has been focused on improving the pre-op measurements and improvements in IOL formula. In 1992, Olsen states that 2/3 of
Sorry to
biometry
interrupt you,
errors.
ma'am.
To interrupt again, yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. Please
Timer is-
on your video.
1 minute. Should I start again?
No, just one, hold on for how much time should be given? 6 minutes. So please set
6
the timer
minutes.
to 6, not 7. Please set the timer to 6 minutes, please. Yeah, and you can start now.
Okay. Is the
Please on your video, ma'am.
On your video, and I would request everyone else to keep mute, please, because there are a lot of background disturbances for the presenter.
Yes, sir.
Can I start? Can I start, sir?
Yes.
Yes, you can start.
Yeah. Is the achieved IOL position in
Again, it is 7
pseudophakic
minutes.
eyes a predictor of post-operative spherical equivalent? Improvements in refractive outcomes in cataract surgery have been focused more on pre-operative measurements and improvements in IOL formula. In 1992, Olsen states that 2/3 of the errors in prediction was because of biometry errors, whereas in 2008, it has hugely come down to less than 1/3 about biometry errors. So this has hugely improved the refractive outcomes. But no single formula is useful in all circumstances because the anterior segment is not always proportional to the axial length as seen in the Holiday schema. So current improvements in IOL power calculation are due to improvement in predictability of the ELP or effective lens position, and different formulae are more accurate in different anterior segment types. So Holiday has also given a quadratic solution to the axial length vergence formula for calculating effective lens position. The aim of our study was to measure the variability in pseudophakic lens position and its impact on the post-operative refraction in normal eyes according to the Holiday schema. This was a single arm interventional case series which included consecutive patients with uncomplicated cataract, including the normal axial lengths 22 to 26 and keratometry 41 to 47. Those with comorbidities, trauma, and previous surgery were excluded, and all the surgeries were performed as topical temporal microincision phaco by a single surgeon with a back single piece aspheric hydrophobic acrylic foldable implantation. So these were the terms which we used. Predicted spherical equivalent, which was measured from the pre-op biometry. We used OA 2000 biometer and the formula was Barrett Universal 2. Effective lens position was calculated by post-op biometry and using Holiday's quadratic equation. Achieved lens position was assessed using by post-operative biometry and the position of the IOL at 5 weeks. Achieved spherical equivalent was from post-operative refraction. So the study hypothesis, when effective lens position is comparable or equal to the achieved lens position, the predicted spherical equivalent is the achieved spherical equivalent. This is the ideal situation. But when you have a myopic error, when the effective lens position is posterior to the achieved lens position, the IOL is more anterior, resulting in a post-op myopic error. Whereas if the IOL is more posterior, you again get a hyperopic error. So all these are variations from the effective lens position and the achieved lens position. So in our methods, we had a routine cataract evaluation and 5 weeks post-op biometry and post-op refraction was taken. And eliminating measurement bias, the independent technicians were blinded. And the achieved refraction was accurate to 1/8 of a diopter, and a swept source OCT biometry was done. And there was a precision of 2 to 3 microns for the ALP or achieved lens position. Statistical methods were applied, and follow-up was 100%. And statistical methods were applied with intention to treat analysis done, and the calculation for a single mean was done. And in the results, there was definitely an improvement from pre-op and post-op visual acuity, which was significant. And this fell into the NHS benchmark, which means that most of the eyes, 94.29% of eyes were within plus or minus 0.5 diopters of the expected. The histogram shows the same. And achieved, when comparing, achieved spherical equivalent and effective lens position showed a significant correlation with a significant Spearman's rule. But interesting to note is that there was no correlation between achieved spherical equivalent and achieved lens position, or expected lens position and achieved lens position. So this is the Bland-Altman plots, which showed poor agreement between expected and achieved spherical equivalents, and effective lens position and achieved lens positions. We had a small subgroup analysis also. So this is the plot for IOL model versus ELP. Here you can see that there is a huge variation in the interquartile range for the IOL model 4, which is TECNIS 1, which means that this IOL is likely to have more variability in terms of the ocular parameter measurement, and which was many other IOLs had more tighter box plots. And this was the plot against IOL model for mean spherical equivalent post-op. Again, most of the IOLs, IOL 1, 2, 3, and 4 had a near normal or emmetropic or a slightly myopic kind of refraction, whereas this is the 5th IOL, which is supraphobe, which had a marked hyperopic kind of refraction. TECNIS 1 was more or less emmetropic. So implications, what are the implications for practice? If the interquartile ranges are small, like this in TECNIS 1, and the spherical equivalent is emmetropic post-op, this IOL is probably the best, and it can be used with better predictability. If there is a myopic or hyperopic error, we need to work on our A constants here. And then if you have a large IQ interquartile box plot, there is something more on the hyperopic side, especially for supraphobe. Here you have to check for IOL geometry. And again, if you go for a constant optimization also here, there might not be a marked improvement in the outcomes. And if it is emmetropic after that, again, there is a limitation to what we can do further. So subgroup analysis shows that when to optimize the lens constant and limitations of a constant personalization, and understanding the correlation between refractive outcomes and ELP, one can actually improve the outcomes without calculation. So the limitations are, we included only normal axial sync, and we were not able to randomize. So again, thin lens effective lens position is a major source of error. Calculations can, based on ELP, can further refine our refractive outcomes, and combining intraoperative measurements would result in significant improvements in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sanita.
Yes, sir.
So basically, the whole thing about modern IOL implantation is the effective lens position.
Yes,
and you showed that there's not significant correlation between achieved and expected lens position. The results varied according to the lenses, and you said that some of them perform better. But then how do you explain, even for the better performing lens, that we are not achieving the expected lens position and yet getting good results?
Yeah, there is a problem like that, sir, because naturally we expect that if the achieved lens position is same as the ELP,
because that's the basis for the surgery.
Yeah.
No?
So there should be, what we thought was that is the difference between the IOL geometry between the different designs, because some of the IOLs tend to go more into the posterior capsule. I mean, they are more posteriorly located. So that is not the position, that is not the problem with the calculation of ELP, but rather it's different.
The lens design. The lens design. So some of them are more forgiving, you say?
Yeah,
okay.
It should be said.